We're talking about opening the lines of communication, and I want to give you two principles, and we've covered one of them, and that is be completely yielded to God's will. In other words, you decide, I'm going to follow God, and I don't even know where we're going. I'm going to do the will of God, and I don't even know what it is. But I choose right now. I love God, and I trust God, and I know He has my best interest at heart, and I'm choosing to do His will. Romans 12:1 says, present your body as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God. So it's just laying our life on the altar and saying, God, I want your will. And from that moment on, His will becomes right for you, and anything less than His will becomes wrong for you. And so that's fine. I'm glad God cares. Then number two, be completely honest. So number one, be completely yielded to God. No reservations. I'll do whatever you want me to do. But number two, be completely honest. Honest with yourself and honest with God. Now, I cannot overemphasize this. We try to train our children, to be honest and tell the truth. But dishonesty has so many negative effects on your life. And I've gotten to the point now, and I'm going to give you some scriptures, but I truly believe if a person is a dishonest person, and Christians can be dishonest. Just because you love the Lord and you're born again doesn't mean that you can't be dishonest. It's possible. I just don't believe dishonest people can follow and hear God's voice. And here's why. Here's why. Just before you disagree, just hear me out. If a person is prone to be dishonest to other people, they're going to be dishonest to themselves. If you don't tell the truth to others, you're probably going to deceive yourself. And if you're apt to deceiving yourself, it's going to be very difficult at times to hear what God is saying. And I see this over and over again. People will pray about direction, and they'll convince themselves that God is telling them what they want to hear. And if that is where you are in your walk with God, you're constantly going to miss what He has for you. God's not always going to tell you what you want to hear. And you have to be honest enough to admit it. And that's really the bottom line. Dishonesty is a terrible trait, and it erodes our confidence in God, it erodes our confidence in other people, and it erodes our confidence in ourselves. There are times when the will of God is so different, and it's so unique, and it's so foreign to your thinking, that unless you can look on the inside and be completely honest with yourself, you'll talk yourself out of it. And so honesty is of utmost importance. I hope you're getting this. This is a key to hearing God's voice. You've got to be honest. Let me take you to the scripture. Psalm 51 and verse 6. Psalm 51 verse 6. And this is a little known psalm, but I've got it highlighted in my Bible because it has spoken to me for years and years. Here it is. Behold, you desire truth in the inward parts, and in the hidden part you will make me to know wisdom. Did you get that? You desire truth. God desires truth in the inward parts. He wants you to be honest. He wants you to tell yourself the truth. He wants you to tell yourself the truth. You've got to be truthful with yourself. There are times when you just aren't going to agree with what you sense God is telling you. And if you're not completely honest, you'll tell yourself it's not God. It's not God. Here's what God's saying. Oh, I've seen this over and over again. I've seen people trumpeting what God said. God said this, and God said that, and God's telling me to do this, and God's telling me to do that. And by the very sound of it, it sounds shallow. Now, I'm not the judge, but there have been times when I'm thinking, I'm not sure about that. Now, I'm not their judge, and I don't say anything, but it's like I've prayed and I've gotten God's will before, and I've begun to do that with fear and trembling, like, Lord, I could be missing you. but I truly believe this is what you're saying. I mean, I can't prove it, but I believe it's you. And if it's not you, help me, Lord. Help me get over it. Help me get through it, and help me get on the right track. I'm being honest, and I'm talking to God from my heart. And so it's just incredibly important. I'm going to read this again. He desires truth in the inward parts. So you got to be able to get quiet and look down on the inside and know you're being honest with yourself. Some people don't want to get quiet that long. They don't want to take that much time to look down on the inside. And in the hidden part, you'll make me to know wisdom. And there it is. There's the direction. When you get honest and have truth with yourself, then you'll begin to know wisdom, because you'll begin to discern what God is saying in your heart. Now, again, you may not agree with it. That's why Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 is so important. Trust in the Lord with all of your heart. Lean not unto your own understanding. There are times when your mind is going to argue with your heart, and this requires honesty. That's where honesty comes in. So there's two principles. First of all, you've yielded yourself to God. You've totally given your future to God. You say, God, I want to do your will, and I don't care what it is. I'm committed to you to do your will. Then number two, I'm honest. So when the direction comes, I'm not going to ignore it. I'm not going to deny it. I'm not going to explain it away. I'm too honest. I'm too truthful. I want the truth. I don't know about you, but I want to do what I'm supposed to do. I don't want the whole world to encourage me and applaud me and compliment me if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. On the other hand, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, I don't care if anybody likes it or not, or if anybody agrees with it or not, because I've worked this out between me and Him, and I believe that I'm doing what He told me to do. I could be wrong, but God knows, and I know that I believe this is what He wants me to do. Do you see what I'm saying? And I'll give you some personal examples, but let me show you this. Proverbs 19:21 says, this is very helpful. Proverbs 19:21, there are many plans in a man's heart. Nevertheless, the Lord's counsel, that will stand. There are many plans, many ideas, many different options that you'll have when you're making a decision. And we're primarily, I mean, let's face it, we're primarily talking about life decisions, major decisions in your life. You want to make right choices. And God will lead you all along the way. But, you know, when we're talking about little things, they're far less, encompassing or world-changing or revolutionary. But major decisions in your life can be surrounded with uncertainty. They can be filled with options and different ways and plans. But He promises us, nevertheless, the Lord's counsel will stand. In other words, thoughts and plans will come and go, but God's counsel, once God gives you His direction, it'll be there because it's in your spirit, and it'll stand. It'll be there tomorrow. It'll be there the next day. And if you're honest about it, you'll recognize it. You'll identify it. You'll pray over it until you're convinced that this is God's will. It does sometimes take time, and that's fine. You have all the time you need to do God's will in your life. It's your life. Nobody can force you to do anything faster than you are prepared to do it. God will work with you in the time frame that you have and help you know what you need to know when you need to know it. But honesty is key.
Visit gregfritz.org to download the MP3s and stream the video for free by entering code FREE at checkout.
Be sure to let me know what you thought about this teaching in the comments section, and share these videos with your friends, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can get more teaching that will empower you to do God's will for your life.